Alright, welcome back from that epic aerial montage. Aerial view of this wonderful 1 in 400 all paper airport that I made. I made this back in December, um, and I started recording the video for it, but I'm actually a very, very big lover of summer. I love summer so much, and I just really like when the sun is high in the sky, so it gets better, so I get better footage. As you can see, since everything is made out of paper, everything's gonna be moving from the wind. Stuff has already been moving around, like all of the blast pads, basically with those red and white checkers over there, they've been moving, and don't even get me started on the air traffic control tower, because that just won't stay up. So we're just gonna have to suck it up. But yeah, so this is probably the most nerdy thing anyone can do right here. But I'll admit it, this is very nerdy, but I do enjoy it, and hopefully you can at least pretend to enjoy it as well. Basically what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be going over a little bit of every single model plane that I have here, and I'm going to give you a little description and a little backstory of why I bought it, and yeah, so I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'd figured we'd kick things off actually on the weird side, the iconic side. Here we have the British Airways Concorde. The reason I bought this was only because it was super iconic and it was really cheap. I put this off to the side obviously because it is not in operation anymore. I think it went out of operation in 2004 or something like that, around the time I was born. But yeah, the reason that it's on this little grass area is actually influenced by, London Heathrow. I believe they also have a Concorde off in like a grass area to where everyone can see. I know it's very well known and well seen. And this is just kind of a plane that everyone knows, only because of how fast it goes, of the supersonic speeds that it used to go to, and its high altitude. So some little facts about this. I'm going to be doing this for every plane. So the Concorde is powered by two Rolls-Royce Snecma Olympus 539 engines. Its cruising speed is Mach 1.8, so yeah, there you go. That's the supersonic speeds we're talking about. It seats up to 100 passengers, so obviously plane tickets get even more expensive due to how little seats there are on the plane. Its range is 4,505 miles or 7,250 kilometers. Its first flight ever was March 2nd of 1969, and 67 of these were built. I know British Airways, Air France, and Singapore Airlines. Those are the only three I can think of off the top of my head. Whew. Those are the only ones who really operated it. Alright, so I know you can see it kind of in the background, but it's not in focus, but we're going to go there next. Alrighty, up next, we have this behemoth of a plane. I hope that was the right terminology. Anyways, it's huge. This is the largest passenger aircraft in the entire world. The last one of these was actually made just a few months ago. You probably didn't hear about it. But yeah, so none of these are being made anymore. This actually, funny enough, the last plane that was ever made actually did go to Emirates. They have so many A380s, and they're pretty much all operating today. Back in December when I recorded this first, pretty much none of the A380s, or very, very few A380s were being utilized and being flown from day-to-day flying, but now they're pretty much back in full swing. I know China Southern was kind of like one of the ones who still kept going through the pandemic, but Emirates is back, British Airways is back, Qantas is back, so we're all good. I have flown on this plane before, actually on Qantas, so to Sydney and back. and it was a kind of a rough, turbulent ride there. But honestly, if I had a turbulent ride to any place on any plane, it would be this one, just because of how massive it is, and the winds can't really push it, as much since it's so big. Some facts about this plane. These are some world record numbers, by the way. It can seat up to 853 passengers. Its range is 8,000 miles or 14,600 kilometers. Its first flight was April 27th, 2005, and 251 of these are built, again, mainly sold to Emirates. This Emirates, I'll talk a little bit about the livery. This is the, I think, United for Wildlife livery, and I really like it. I know they have another livery on this where it's basic, but it doesn't look as good because it's just kind of a bunch of like stock images of animals, and it's kind of just slapped onto the plane. It doesn't look very, very good. The design isn't very, very pleasing, but this one really is, and it still keeps the text Emirates on it, unlike the other one. And if you saw, I did keep it in this hanger right here. I'll bring it closer to you. This, might I say, this took hours to make. This took so long to make. You can probably see why. But I think it really, really paid off. Alright, let's go into this. Okay, up next we have up here we have the Airbus A340-400. There is actually a whole Airbus family, and I'm stressing the 400 because I do have another A340 that we'll get to later. This A340, little fun fact about this plane, this model that I have here. This is actually the oldest model that I have in my collection here. That is here pretty much. And I got it back in April of 2018. So I've had it for just a bit over 4 years now, which is kind of mind-boggling, kind of insane to be saying, but it's true. I actually got this at the Hong Kong airport, which is why it is Cathay Pacific, which Cathay Pacific is the hub. That's their hub, Hong Kong International. So yeah, just a little proud moment that I have with this plane. Anyways, some little facts about this plane. The Airbus A340-600 can hold up to 370 passengers. Its range is 9,072 miles, or 14,600 kilometers. Its first flight was April 23rd, 2001, and 380 of these are built. As of right now, this plane, pretty much the whole family is barely in operation. That's the word I was thinking of, operation. It's barely in operation because of how fuel inefficient it is. If you think about other big birds like the 777 or the 787, A330, the A330, stuff like that, they only have half the amount of engines and still just as big of a fuselage. So to operate 4 engines really sucks out the fuel, and it's really, really inefficient, and it costs a lot more money to operate, which is why airliners either scrapped them, retired them, all except for, get ready, Lufthansa. Lufthansa is one of the only ones who are still operating the A340 family. And actually, they're going to be bringing back their 600s. I think they already have been. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to see them still in the skies. That's very happy for me to see, to have happen. And yeah, let's go on to the next one. Okay, up next we have the Airbus A350-900 in the Lufthansa livery. This is one of my newer planes. I think it looks super realistic compared to its real-life counterpart, the actual plane itself. I just think it looks super realistic, super sleek, and it's a very, very nice looking plane. The reason I chose this plane, because I really like the new, I think it's the 50th anniversary livery that they changed it to, where it's all blue and they got rid of the yellow in the tail. It's just a great looking plane. It is actually one of the most fuel efficient planes, and it's like a really, really high tech plane, and a lot of airlines have switched from many other types of planes to this one right here because of how fuel efficient it is and how high tech it is. Some facts about the A350 is that it seats up to 350 passengers. Its range is 9,320 miles, or 15,000 kilometers. Its first flight was June 14th, 2013, so it's very young compared to many of these planes on the list. And 445 of them are built, and definitely still counting. So many orders of these are being taken right now. I have not been on an A350 in my life. Hopefully that changes. And I also forgot to add, have I been on an A330? Yes, an A340. Yes, I have. I've been on on Air Tahiti Nui, to basically Papit. I think that's what it is. It's Tahiti, alright? Tahiti. And I'm super thankful because I'm probably never going to fly on one again, so I'm glad I really had that opportunity to be on one. Let's go on to the next. Okay, on to the next plane. Here we have the longest, well, actually not longest, but it's the coolest looking plane on the face of the earth. This is the Boeing 777-300ER, basically extended range. This is the most powerful plane, and it has the strongest engines in the world, which are, spoiler alert, the GE90 engines. This is probably the biggest fan favorite of them all. It's so cool. It's my favorite plane as well. Some fun facts about this. Well, again, you heard about the GE90 engines. It seats up to 396 passengers. And its range is 8,481 miles, or 13,650 kilometers. Its first flight was February 24th, 2003. 844 of them were built. And yes, I have been on this plane before. I've been on ANA, All Nippon Airways, to Tokyo Narita, and I've been on one to Hong Kong Cathay Pacific, which is where I got the other plane. So yeah, it's just the greatest plane ever. The reason I picked Virgin Australia was because of I just like the tail and the red stripes on the engines. I think it's very sleek and it's very simplistic. I know it may come across as boring, but I do not think that. So yeah, let's go on to the next plane. Okay, up next we have the Airbus A340-600. This is the bigger version of what we just saw earlier, which was the Cathay Pacific A340-400. This one is way, way cooler. I love how the engines look, and I love how the livery looks too. If you actually remember the last one, I think you might be able to see it. I think it's in frame, so I think you can see it. This is by the same company, Virgin Airlines. Well, Virgin, and this is their Virgin Atlantic. So I know they have Virgin America, which I think merged with Spirit a long time ago, and then Virgin Atlantic, which basically is Europe or London based, and then Virgin Australia, which obviously based in Australia. This one, I love how it looks like very creamy and it's very glossy. It looks like it's made out of fine diamonds. I just like how the plane looks, the red, sorry about that, the red gloss that it has on the engines, and then the tail obviously looks great. Anyways, that was a dove that just flew in our patio. Anyway, some facts about the A340-600. It seats up to 370 passengers, where the 400 only has 290 passengers. Its range is 9,072 miles, compared to 8,512 miles, or 14,600 kilometers, compared to 13,700 kilometers. Its first flight was on April 23rd, 2001, compared to the 400, which was, again, October 25th, 1991. So a 10-year difference. 380 of these were built, compared to 377 of them were built. So very, very similar stats. And I believe these are Rolls-Royce engines. So, but yeah. All right. And no, I have not been on this exact plane. I've been on the A340-400 before, which was the Air Tahiti. So I have not been on this plane. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, moving right along, we have here we have the Boeing 787-10 by Boeing, and this is in the British Airways livery. Not many airliners operate the -10. This is the largest variant of the 787, which there's the -8, the -9, which is the most common, and then the -10, which is actually the least common. I know KLM, obviously British Airways, Eva Air, Etihad, Singapore, United. Those are really the main airliners that operate this plane. Some facts about this plane. It seats up to 336 passengers. Its range is 7,400 miles, or 11,910 kilometers. Its first flight was March 31st, 2017, so this is a very, very new plane to the aviation world, and it's pretty much like the A350, but Boeing's version. And it is just very, very high-tech, very modern, made out of carbon fiber, so it's very much lighter and more stronger than metal planes. So, and then 184 787-10s were built. All right, let's go on to the next one. Hold on, really quickly. No, I have not been on a Boeing 787 at all, like ever. So I'm kind of surprised by that too, but we need to change that. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. Okay. Very upset Brian here. These paper terminals are blowing all over the place, and I just have to keep fixing them, so they shouldn't be moving now. Alright, moving on. Next up, here we have the Aer Lingus Airbus A330-300, which is the largest variant of the A330, that compared to the Airbus A330-200, obviously. Obviously, I chose Aer Lingus due to my Irish heritage, and it's just a really clean, slick design they did with the livery. They did a great job. I love the text and the little shamrock as well. It looks great, and I have been on this exact plane before to Ireland, so it's just a little moral thing for me. Some facts about the A330-300. It seats up to 277 passengers. It has a range. It has a range of 7,021 miles and 11,300 kilometers. Its first flight was November 2nd, 1992, and 1,525 of these were built. So that's a very large number, the largest number we have yet. Alright, let's move on to the next plane. Okay, moving on, here we have the Boeing 757-300. Fun fact about this plane, this is actually the longest single-aisle airplane in the entire world. I know you don't care. But yeah, this is actually considered the pencil plane due to how long and thin it is. I don't know if you can tell, but this is very, very thin plane for a plane. This is the Delta livery, and I knew I had to get Delta for this 757 because I've been on it numerous times to JFK and to Maui, all sorts of places. So I knew I had to get this plane. Some fun facts about the 757-300. It seats up to 243 passengers. Its range is 4,000 miles or 6,437 kilometers. Its first flight was August 2nd, 1998, and 1,052 of them were built. That being only this 757-300. Alright, let's move on to the next plane, which is basically these are all in the regional terminals, all the smaller planes, if you will. Okay, up next we have the Boeing 737-800. This plane is probably the most classic, iconic, and most well-produced plane in the entire world. Maybe that or the 737-700 maybe. But yeah, this is probably the most recognizable plane. Well, maybe not recognizable, but definitely the most flown on plane. I'm sure all of these viewers, if there are any, have flown on this before at least once. And there goes everything. Just great. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Hand reveal, I know. I hate the wind. Wind blows. Some facts about the 737-800. It seats up to 189 passengers. Its range is 3,582 miles, or 5,764 kilometers. Its first flight was July 31st, 1997, and a whopping 4,991 of these have been built. That is definitely by far the most mass-produced plane in the entire world due to its range and how specific flights it can take, all the operations it can do. This is the United livery, which is, I think, the newer version from 2019 or 2018, I forget. But I absolutely love this livery, and I love the blue. Here, I'll move there you go, so you can see the whole United. Yeah, it's just a great plane, and I love that line that it goes all the way across the fuselage. Okay, up next, this is probably my favorite livery, definitely top 3 liveries of all time. I am a big fan of America, being an American. I'm very patriotic. I love 4th of July, which this is the only reason I bought this plane. This is the Liberty One, I think Liberty One, livery of Southwest Airlines. This is also a Boeing 737-800. So I'm not going to go over any of the stats again because I just said it in the last clip. This is obviously, I love it because of obviously the American flag and the patriotism it shows to the country that I love and stand for. This was, I think, made in June of 2020, if not a little bit earlier. So this is a fairly new livery to the aviation world, and hopefully I can see it one day in the real world. So, and I think it operates at LAX, which is my, I guess, home airport, if you will. All right, let's move on to the next plane. I love this thing. All right, in front of us we have the Airbus A321, and this is the Frontier livery. I have been on Frontier Airlines, obviously to Denver, which is its hub. This plane I just really like because of all the unique tails Frontier adds to their liveries. So obviously you can see, I'll point the camera a little bit closer. Hopefully that'll focus in. There you go. Obviously that is a bald eagle on the tail, but since they are all about nature and the Denver nature, you'll see a lot of, they have a ton of different tails they have on their liveries, and they go from like owls to foxes, wolves, elk, moose, deer, basically a lot of foresty wood type animals on their livery, which I absolutely love. I eat that up. It's so cool. I just love the livery, which is why I chose to get it. Some facts about the Airbus A321: it seats up to 236 passengers. Its range is 3,685 miles or 5,930 kilometers. Its first flight was March 11th, 1993, and 2,418 of them were built. This is another one of those very popular airplanes. All right, that'll do it for the regional terminal, and so now we'll move on to the cargo area. Trust me, guys, these lines you're seeing they're just clouds. All right, trust me. Of course, when I start to record, everything is starting to move from the wind. My life is a lie. Anyways, what do we have in front of us? This is a weird looking plane, huh? This is the Airbus Beluga XL, obviously with the lines right here, or the type. You're probably asking, is this real? Yes, this is real. This is a real plane. It's relatively new, but the Airbus Beluga family is very old, actually, older than you'd think. What this plane does basically is this hump in the top of the plane, it transfers actually other airplane fuselages. So maybe there will be the fuselage, which when I say fuselage, I basically mean this part of the aircraft, the body, the cabin, the circle, the main body of the plane. So yeah, smaller planes can fit in there. Unfortunately, this Beluga does not have a very large payload, and it'll stall if it takes up too much, or if it starts to weigh too much. But yeah, so I'm gonna give you a little demonstration because it came with it. How this opens actually in the front. Here, there's this piece right here, which is basically the front hood, so this will come out, and so basically what this does, say it was like here, it would open up like this, and it would just stay up right here. Just to give you a little demonstration, that's how it opens. So yeah, some facts about the Airbus Beluga XL. It has a 47-ton payload. Its range is very bad, 1,726 miles or 2,777 kilometers, but that is with maximum payload. So obviously you can go much further than that if it doesn't have maximum payload. Its first flight was September 13th, 1994, and only 5 of these have been built. Alright, let's move on to the next plane. Okay, up next, you're probably thinking, dang, why do all these planes have humps on them magically? Yeah, this is basically Boeing's version, or their counterpart of the Airbus Beluga. If you want to know which one came first, the Airbus Beluga did. but this one is much, much more powerful and stronger and has a bigger payload. The Dreamlifter obviously does the same thing. It actually opens up like a door, so like on the back here, this whole tail section will open up this way, and it'll fold off to the side. I'll probably show a picture for you on screen right now, but that's how it opens. This plane actually comes with flaps, if you can see, so I absolutely love that part. And basically this Dreamlifter is just a modified Boeing 747, which, if you can tell, probably the most iconic looking plane of all time. So let's compare some stats here. The Boeing Dreamlifter has a 125-ton payload compared to the Airbus Beluga's 47-ton payload. Its range is 4,847 miles, or 7,800 kilometers, compared to the 1,726 miles, or 2,777 kilometers from the Beluga. Its first flight was September 9th, 2006, compared to September 13th, 1994, and only 4 Dreamlifters were built compared to the 5 Belugas. So yeah, there's really no rivalry with the two planes. Here, I'll show them both on screen. That's what they both look like, and here's just to show the cool flaps that came with it, because I just want to show them off, because almost no other plane that I have has flaps on it. Okay, let's go on. I apologize for the bad lighting again, and now there's a dog barking. Up next, we have the 747-8. This plane is the longest plane in the entire world. This is obviously the cargo variant, hence the Qatar cargo. But it does have a passenger version, which you're probably thinking, since this is 740, Brian, you just said this is 747, and it looks nothing like the last one. But this is obviously the newer and longer and more modern version of the 747. Hence, you can see these little chevrons on the back of the engines. And so yeah, some facts about the 747-8. It is 250 feet long, which is why I added that. The payload of the cargo variants is 140 tons. It has a range of 9,320 miles, or 15,000 kilometers. Its first flight was February 8th, 2010, which is obviously recent, which I already mentioned, and 148 of these were built. And the passenger variants of the 747-8 seats up to 461 passengers. Alright, so now everything's going to start moving since there's wind, so I'm going to stop. Alright, very quickly, the freaking wind is so horrible right now. Alright, up next we have the McDonnell Douglas MD-11. This is obviously the passenger version, which that is the only thing that is operating today. There are no more passenger MD-11s remaining, and those were gone years ago, a long time ago. I can't not get FedEx because they operate the most MD-11s by far out of any other airline or cargo company in the entire world. Some facts about the MD-11. Well, the passenger variants used to hold 440 passengers, but it has a 101-ton payload in a range of 7,872 miles, or 12,670 kilometers. Its first flight was January 10th, 1990, and 200 of them were built. Alright, there's one more plane, and I can't wait to talk about it. Okay, last but not least, if anything, it's the most. We have in front of us the Antonov AN-225. If you've been keeping up with the news lately, or at least the past 2-3 months, I don't know how long this was ago, but obviously the war between Russia and Ukraine has resulted in the largest airplane ever to be destroyed. This plane, it's sad because when I recorded this first, this was still a fully functioning operating plane. Obviously when I recorded this back in December, but now it is completely destroyed by missiles. Hence, and this is because this is a Ukraine made plane, and hence all of the blue and yellow stripes on the plane. This plane had an astonishing 6 Progress D18T engines. I think one of the only planes ever to have 6 engines. 4 is a lot, but 6, that's incredible. Okay, this wind is just like abnormal. It's so annoying. I'm so gonna lose it. It has so many wheels. I'm not gonna count them, but there's so many. The plane was 276 feet long. It had a 280-ton payload. 280-ton payload. That is over double what the 747 can do. It has a 9,569 mile or 15,400 kilometer range. Its first flight was December 21st, 1988, and of course, only one of them have been built. Now, they did say they were planning on rebuilding it, and donations were being accepted to start rebuilding. I think they've already started by now. So hopefully it'll be back in the skies, but rest in peace, Antonov, you will be missed. Yeah. And the plane actually, if you're curious, the plane actually opened up like this. So this nose right here just completely opened up. It looked like I had a mouth. Alright, that'll do it for the video, and let's head to the outro. Alright, well, this is the outro. I don't even care anymore. Yeah, this took me hours. It took me like a week. Obviously, I did this back in December. Yeah, that's really it. I'm super happy that I made this. I basically did this just to showcase all my model planes, and it was just a cool way to show them. It's better than just a desk. So yeah, I'm gonna put this away now. And thanks for watching, and catch you all.